Let's go YVC!
Dang. Alright. Alright, we're here.
Welcome back to the Service Matters Podcast. Today we're with Vanessa Bielman and Jesse Deal. Vanessa Bielman is a community engagement professional with over 15 years of experience in the higher education arena. For the past 10 years, she has worked in Christopher Newport University's Center for Community Engagement, the last 5 years of which she has served as director of the Center of the University's Bonner Service Scholar Program. She holds undergraduate degrees in economics and English from Dickinson College and a master's degree in business administration from the University of Maryland University College. She has one son, Spencer, and resides with her husband and two crazy cats in Smithfield, Virginia. Jesse Deal is a double CNU alum of class of 2015 and 2017, as well as the assistant director for the Common Engineering and Bonner Scholars. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, two crazy cats.
Two crazy cats, Ellie and Louie.
How did you get to that? One became two, or did you get two at the same time?
So we got two at the same time because before them we had been through the whole have one cat and then try to introduce another cat, and we wanted to avoid that the second time around. So I like to say they were cellmates at the SBCA. So they were in the same cage. So we took both of them.
And what caused you to come back to CNU again, or?
So I never actually left. Before I started working here in the Center for Community Engagement, I actually was, for a year or two, the marketing assistant, and then eventually the Arts for All coordinator for the Ferguson Center for the Arts, the Performing Arts Center on campus. So I just kind of stuck around.
Yeah. So what caused you to stick around?
I just love the culture of Christopher Newport so much, the people that I work with, the students that study here. It's been a welcoming place and a warm place, and I want to be able to give back to the university that gave me so much.
So if you both had to give us an overview of CNU's mission and what it stands for, what would that be?
Of the university as a whole, or of the center?
Both.
Both.
And how you integrate into that mission.
Right. Actually, they're both very closely aligned. Of course, right, CNU is here to provide an excellent education for the students that come here, but we need to do more than that, right? We don't just want our students to come in and go into a classroom, get talked at a lot, take a couple tests, and then send them out into the world. So we're actually both dedicated to the development of students, really like the holistic development and education of our students. Specifically for the center, we are really focused on helping our students leave here as civically engaged citizens of the world. So when they leave here, we want them to have that heart for service, have that knowledge and understanding of how to go out into new communities and work with the people that are out there on community identified needs, and to take all that knowledge, all those skills with them throughout the rest of their lives. Same for the university, right? We want our students to grow as people, right? And to become just these wonderfully engaged folks that leave here, and no matter where they go, like be productive, be supportive wherever they are, be caring of others. Would you add to that at all?
No, I think honestly, you pretty much put the nail on the head.
Yeah. Our former president, President Tribble, always talked to our students about not just being spectators when they come here. So don't just come and kind of sit back and let everything happen to you, but to come here and really go for it and to get involved. And we talk a lot around here about helping our students learn what it means to live a life of significance. And I think community engagement, having our students go out in the community, is hugely significant, right? As when you're talking about just as a person and the person you want to be, like moving through life, to live a life of significance, we think really means helping others, right, along the way, and helping to lift them up and come into their own power.
Why do you think that is so important in living a life of significance? Why do you think giving back to your community and helping others is vital to being able to accomplish that?
Yeah, I think there are really two reasons. Like, one, I think people intrinsically know, like, it's good to do good, right? Like, we should want to go help other people and do good things, whatever that is, whether it's going to a food bank or helping at a soup kitchen, whatever that is, right? People intrinsically know it's good to do good. In the center, we really focus on committed and consistent service, so that our students go a little deeper. So they're not just kind of going out there and doing something here and doing something there, which is great, because if that's what the community needs, that's awesome. But we found that the number one request we receive from our community partners is for dedicated volunteers. So first, with our students serving in that way, like committing to serving with like a nonprofit organization like Youth Volunteer Corps, right? The community partner is getting something they really need, that dedicated volunteer. But the effect on our students in serving in that way is huge. So when they commit themselves to a nonprofit organization, they grow so much. Like they build trust, they build relationships, they start working on those skills that can be really hard to hone, like learning how to talk to people, like getting out of your comfort zone, right? Because it can be really awkward trying to talk to new people, and especially, us old folks.
Hey, we're not that old.
as you go out. So like you can start really learning those skills and getting good at it. Our students who commit to serving with a partner for like many years, they just get these like really marketable skills and experiences and levels of responsibility they wouldn't ordinarily get. And it really changes the way it changes their confidence levels. It changes the way they also see the world. They become much more compassionate. They become much more sympathetic to folks, and really learn to value diversity and inclusion and things like that. So it really just starts to mold the whole person. And it's a really cool thing to see. So it's important for everybody.
Why do you think organizations value the long-term commitments as opposed to the shorter term?
Yeah, great question. So what we see a lot is the majority of our nonprofit partners, and our center works with around 110, 115 local nonprofit organizations, and there are many, many more on the peninsula, but the majority of those organizations are under-resourced, right? They either need more financial resources or more, human resources to help, like, be able to provide the services they need to provide to the folks in the community. And so so what happens is they're under-resourced, and then if you have volunteers that just come out, and let's say if they're having an event or something and they need that one-time volunteer, great, that's very important for them. But when they have volunteers that come out, and they're with them for a couple hours, and so someone from their staff has to take a couple hours with them, right, to help let them know about the organization. Maybe there's an onboarding process to even get a volunteer to the position where they can even just do anything with the organization, and then that person doesn't come back. So they've invested a lot of time and money in that volunteer who they never see again. So it's really important for our nonprofit friends to have volunteers that return and that they can count on.
Yeah, back to what you said about like learning language skills and whatnot. Can you go into like specifics on how CNU is different from any other university?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
I think one of the reasons that CNU is different is because we have these 4 pillars that are the core of what we do as a liberal arts university. Those are study abroad, undergraduate research, internships or career planning, and then us, community engagement. So you have a lot of other colleges and universities across the nation that have those big other 3, study abroad, undergraduate research, internships, or career planning. Not a lot put emphasis on the community engagement. We as a university, or any university, you shouldn't exist solely in this bubble. So you are part of a community, like you're in this neighborhood, you're part of its community, so you should be getting out into the community, learning about the issues that they face with, serving with the community members, serving with the nonprofits that are in that area, just to like understand more. I think that's what makes us so unique. We're not serving for anything. That's what one of the things we really hone in on at the center is like we don't serve for someone or do something for someone. It's serving with them because the knowledge and the expertise is within the community. We just provide the helping hands.
Yeah, so my son just graduated from college last year. And when we were going through the whole college search process, he had no idea where he wanted to go to school. He didn't know if he wanted a small school, a big school, a rural school, a city school. Like, he had no clue. So we visited 15 schools, which sounds outrageous. I only have one kid, so that, helped things with time-wise. But so being, someone who works at a university, I paid a lot of attention to what the other schools said about, the different things they value and the different things that students could get involved in. And like all the schools bragged about their study abroad programs. They talked about the undergraduate research opportunities, internship opportunities, and I never heard about service in the same way that they talked about those other three. And that's when I really realized how special CNU was.
Yeah.
Because working here, I just kind of assumed all schools were like that. And then as I went out, I was like, okay, they might mention service, but it was more of an aside or more of just like, yeah, our students do X number of hours of service a year. But that doesn't mean a whole lot if you don't know what that service entails. So coming back from that experience was really eye-opening to me for the kind of commitment that CNU really makes to it.
Why do you think other universities don't put that same emphasis that CNU does on service?
I'm not saying that they don't do that, because many other universities have centers for community engagement like we have, and they have opportunities to go out and serve in the community. I just think CNU has been very intentional about including it with those other, we call them experiential learning practices, right? These different like ways that students can take what they're learning in the classroom, but go out and apply them in the real world. And so I think it's just a matter of intentionality of how CNU does it compared to those other schools.
Well, you've obviously been a part of the community engagement program for a long time.
Yeah.
When you first came to CNU, what got you involved, and why did you stick around?
Okay, so I first, God Lord, came to college in the fall of 2011, and I was part of the President's Leadership Program, which is a program that teaches you leadership skills. You graduate with a minor in leadership studies, and one of the big things that's a requirement and that they believe in is, getting involved in the community. And as such, they have a 100-hour service requirement over the course of your 4 years. So I already was doing service, and I was getting a degree in environmental biology. So I did 2 years in the cat room at the Peninsula SPCA, because I love cats, and then 2 years at the Virginia Living Museum, because I wanted to connect my love of animals and like the degree I was working in. And I just saw, specifically working at the Virginia Living Museum, how just my 2 hours every Friday at the Touch Tank could flip a light switch on for a kid. It's like, because I was telling them about, the Chesapeake Bay, and these are the organisms that live here. And actually, that's not called a starfish because it doesn't have gills. It's a sea star because it's an invertebrate. So I was like teaching these children all these new things. And so it was a very small impact that may have not made a big ripple, but it's kind of like the butterfly effect. A butterfly's wings can create a small breeze, which eventually turns into a hurricane. So that one little thing just kind of compounded. And then when I worked for the Ferguson Center for the Arts for All program provides free and or discounted tickets to those who cannot, who don't have the accessibility to attend shows otherwise. So I was working for the community in that way as well. So I just, kind of stuck around.
Yeah. I want to ask a very general question, but to you, what is the most beneficial element in service for CNU?
Most beneficial. I mean, because I was a student here, I've seen both sides of the curtain. I was a student, I was an administrator. I think the most beneficial thing is showing, like, getting, like, as I talked about before, this whole thing of, you know, a university being a bubble. So breaking through that bubble to show the community that we are a part of, that we are here for them, and they can come to us as a resource, should they desire. And then vice versa, that we can come to them as well to gain knowledge, to learn about issues that they're dealing with. One of the programs that I've been the director for is our Community Engagement Fellowship, which is a year-long fellowship where our students work with a faculty mentor and a community partner to address an identified community need, and be it through a project or a research paper or grant writing. It's something that the community has brought to our attention that we really need to figure out a solution or partial solution to this. How can you help us? So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see the students that have taken the time to go out into the community and serve, because they tend to be the ones that, you know, as they reach their senior year, we hear a lot of, man, my time here would have been completely different if I hadn't gotten off campus and done this work and met the people that I've met. Like, we hear that over and over again.
All the time.
So yeah, that's really, and even from folks who are fairly local. Like, there may be folks from like Chesapeake. We've even had folks from like Hampton or Yorktown that say, you know, I thought I knew Newport News. Yeah, but until I came here and like got out into the city, even, you know, yes, serving, but also like even just going out to like try different restaurants and things like that, right? So just getting out into the world, you know, is so important. And, you know, universities are set up to give you everything you need, right? Like, it's where you live, there's food. Today on campus is spring fed. Like, there are fun things to do. Everything you need is here. But life is so much richer when you go off campus, right? And plus, you're with your peers, right? So you're with a whole bunch of people like that are your age, and that's awesome and fun. But much richer experience when you go off campus and meet a whole lot of different people who maybe you wouldn't ordinarily have met. And then the benefit for the university is pretty similar in that they get to work with a lot of different people too. I like to say that CNU, like any other university, is a center of knowledge here in this community, but we're not the center of knowledge. So the folks out in the community doing the work, they're the experts, right? They know what's been happening out there, what the needs are, what's been tried in the past, what hasn't worked, what is working, right? So the university is in a great place to be able, like we talk a lot about working with people, working alongside the community, to match our resources to the community's needs. And another thing, like language we use a lot, is mutually beneficial community engagement and reciprocity. So it's never, ever us or our students or the university going out and saying, we know what you need, or we know how to fix you, because we are not here to do that. We are here to work with you as your neighbors, as your partners, in advancing our community together. That's probably a much longer answer than you wanted.
Would you agree that the community engagement center job is to connect the students with the organizations?
100%.
Yeah, so we have a lot of nonprofits. So I send out a weekly newsletter, and in that newsletter, I always highlight a nonprofit, and then I always have volunteer opportunities. So, like, nonprofits are coming to us saying, like, I have this need, can you help me find students? But it also, the reverse is true as well. Like, students come to me saying, like, I really want to get involved with childcare. What nonprofits are out there that I can do this? So I help match them that way as well.
Yeah. The other really cool thing that the center does is we work with our faculty members who want to include like a community engaged element in their classes. So we work with faculty, and it looks different, right, for each different kind of class or, you know, area of study. But we work with those faculty, and we help them build a relationship with the community partner, and then their students, instead of sitting in the classroom all semester just learning stuff, maybe the first half of the semester, or maybe the first day of each week even for the semester, they're in the classroom learning the content or the theories in the classroom, and then the rest of the week or the second half of the semester, they're out working with a community partner and working on a project or research that community partner needs. And so in that way, you guys know, right? You guys sit in a classroom, right, every day, all day. How much more exciting would that be to actually take what you're learning and actually use it on something real? So that's another thing the center does that we really enjoy.
Could you talk about the Bonner Scholar Program a little bit and what it is, how students get involved and the benefits of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So CNU is so lucky. We are one of only 70 colleges and universities across the whole country. That includes Hawaii, which actually University of Hawaii has a Bonner program. So we're one of only 70, and we're really honored and proud of that fact. Basically, the Bonner program is a college access program, and their tagline is access to education, opportunity to serve. So it is basically a service scholarship program, but it is set up to embrace that committed, consistent service work. So the way our program runs is that the application is open to admitted first-year students. So anyone who's been admitted to CNU can apply for the program, go through an interviewing process, and we take up to 10 incoming first-year students per year. It's a 4-year developmental program, so that means they get trainings, we do some traveling together, things like that. So our first-year students also take a class together, Intro to Civic Engagement, Social Justice. So there's a little piece, like academic piece, that helps inform the work they do in the community. But then for those 4 years, our Bonners commit to serving with one local nonprofit partner. And we have relationships with 10 local nonprofits who are our Bonner partners. And YVC is one of those Bonner partners. And we've treasured our relationship with them. They're one of our one of our original partners. Our program started in 2011. And we are interviewing our 14th cohort coming into the program right now. So those Bonners commit to serving 250 hours per academic year. And that breaks down to 8 to 10 hours per week. And so they commit to their Bonner partner to serving with them 8 to 10 hours each week. So it's not like they come in and try to get a couple hours here and a couple hours there. They're committing to serve regularly 8 to 10 hours per week with their Bonner partner. And in return, they receive financial support for college.
Could you give an example of, you gave YVC, but how have the Bonner Scholar Program made an impact in the community?
Oh, good question.
I think one of the biggest ones, so one of our Bonner partners is Riverside Regional Medical Center, so diagonally across from the university. And we've had a couple of Bonners work there in the past, and we've had a couple ongoing capstones there. And capstones is basically the seniors' final project. It's an identified need that they that the Bonner either identified or their site supervisor identified, and they work to create either a project or a research paper, whatever the solution is what they basically create. So one of our actually graduating Bonners worked on creating a shadowing program for the pre-med scholars, because one of the big things that Riverside needed, especially after COVID, because everyone was burnt out and volunteers couldn't be there to volunteer due to COVID mitigations and restrictions, was that if you committed to serving at least 40 hours as a regular volunteer, you could then gain the opportunity to shadow a doctor or a nurse to help further your career in the medical field, which is looked, what is the word I'm looking for? Looked very not significant.
Favorably.
Thank you.
Yep.
Looked very favorably upon as you're applying to med schools. That you want that shadowing opportunity. And then another one of our Bonners, who's a rising senior, is creating a clothing closet for the ED or the emergency department, because when people leave the department, they're walking away in hospital gowns. If their clothing has to be cut off, how demoralizing is that to be walking out of a hospital in papery hospital gowns? So what Rachel, this Bonner, is doing is doing multiple clothing drives every year, and which supply that clothing closet so people who are leaving the emergency department can actually take clothing and wear it out, as opposed to wearing a hospital gown.
Okay, so we have a question that we ask with each of our guests. What is the service way to you?
What is the service way to me? What a great question. Oh, service is all about people. At the end of the day, it is all about people. And if you stay focused on, it's all about people and listening. I'll say that. It's not just about, going out and doing something. Like we keep coming back to the for people versus with people. It's all about people and listening to people, and finding out about them, right? We're all different. So listening to people, learning about their stories, whether that's, the person that needs assistance, whether that's the person you're standing next to in line somewhere, it's wherever you are, just listening to folks, and really learning about them, and learning to appreciate each person for who they are and their unique background and experiences. And I think in doing so, even if it is that person that's you're standing in line next to it, wherever, I think you continue to learn, and it helps shape how you interact as you go out to do service, or as you go out to serve. And it just makes you a far more compassionate and caring person, and more able to meet anyone where they are. You're able to be more accepting. There's no room for judgment in service. There's only room for care. So I would say those are kind of my guiding principles when it comes to service.
Yeah.
I have one follow-up question before. How have you tried to tie the Community Engage Center Bonner program into what the service way is to you? How have you tried to tie the two together?
Right. We actually do that very intentionally in the Bonner program because we do get so much time with them. We meet with them every week, and like I said, we get to travel together. So we get to talk a lot about that. And a big part of the Bonner program for our first-year students is actually sharing our stories, right? So we start with ourselves. And every single time we do that, I have Bonners that say, I never would have imagined that, so-and-so, had that happen in their lives, right? Because we look at someone and think, they look like their lives are perfect. So we start honing those skills like from day one in the Bonner program. And as we can, I would say, it's hard for, a campus of 5,000 students, but as we can, no matter how we are interacting with people, our bonders are interacting with people, we have student staff that works in the center. So that's something that we try to encourage, both just in how we model, we try to model that, for our students, and hopefully kind of that ripple effect again, that they carry that with them and model that for others.
I think one of the things that you didn't mention, V, but what we really hone in for the Bonner scholars, and then it ripples outwards, because I even talk about this to students not in the program, is assuming the relationship. So what that is, it's sort of a mindset that we teach where when you first meet someone, of course, say hello, how are you doing, my name is so on and so forth, but then disperse with all the niceties of how's the weather? No. What you really want to do is dive down deep into the nitty gritty, learn their stories, listen to them, ask them deep questions. So assume that you're already friends with them, that you already know them, that you're best buddies from 5 years ago. That way you can just make more of an impact as opposed to just grazing the surface. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
Okay, well, I think that's all we got. Thank you guys for talking with us. You have really powerful insights, and thank you.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Yeah, it was our
having us
pleasure.
on the show.
This is Springfest. CNU has this, every year, I think, right? Yeah. Come out, as you can see, there's a bouncy house with that a lobster? Yeah, it looks like a lobster.
Hello.
Do you know about the Community Engagement Center?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How do you think they are impactful for CNU?
I think that they provide a lot of resources in order for students to get involved around the community.
Matt? Marshall.
Do you know about the Community Engagement Center?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts and opinions?
It's good. It gets students out there, gets them working, especially during, I know that during my welcome week, they got us out there working in the community.
How do you think it's impactful for CNU?
It introduces to people like ways to get out there, not only and by forcing them to get out there for that. I think they need to bring that day of service back. I loved that day of service. I still wear a band I got from my day of service because it was like impactful to like help people in the community.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Hello, can I get your name?
Najee.
That's great. I'm Hayden. How about the Community Engagement Center?
I do.
How do you think that's impactful for CNU?
I feel like CNU makes it like the community engagement and everything makes CNU a little bit like more of a community rather than just like being individualized and stuff like that. So that's how I saw it. So.
That's great. That's great. Hi, what's your name? Yeah, that's great. Hi, what are your names?
Hi, I'm Jasmine.
I'm Christian.
Great, I'm Hayden. What do you think about the Bon Air Scholarship Program?
The Binary Scholarship Program?
Bon Air.
Bon Air. Honestly, I don't know much about it. I'm a freshman here at CNU, so I'm not up to date on everything. However, I do want to learn about it and make myself as educated as possible, so I don't really have a particular answer for that.
Anything?
It's the service hours, right?
Yes.
A certain amount of service hours to. I think it's good. I mean, I don't really have any super strong opinions about it, but I think it's valid.
That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Yeah, that's all. Hi, what are your names?
I'm Haley. I'm Alexa.
I'm Hayden. What do you think about the Bon Air Scholarship Program?
The Bonner Scholarship? Yes. I think they're really cool. I like how they're really involved in the community. Like they do a lot of service, like besides like the POP and stuff, and they just really dedicate to making like not just CNU better, but like the CNU community like really engaged.
I really agree. She said the service is especially one thing that really sticks out to me.
Hi, y'all.
All right, hi, what's your name?
Gwendolyn.
I'm Hayden. What do you think about the Community Service Center?
I know a little bit about it.
How do you think that impacts CNU?
Well, it's important to be involved in the community. Obviously, a lot of students aren't involving themselves with the community, but if there's programs set in place to try and bridge that gap, that's pretty important.
I'm Jaden.
What do you think about the Bonner Scholarship Program?
I personally don't do it, but I think they do a lot of good work. Just kind of a lot of community service, which I think adds a lot of value, specifically just like around the area. I think they do a lot of good things for the community, as well as they take a lot of time to make sure that they give back, which I think is very much valued, especially like where we live. I think it's very important to give back to the area you live in because it gives a lot to you. Yeah.
Thank you. What's your name?
Eva Powell.
Are you a part of the Community Engage Center?
Yes.
What's your opinion or what are the benefits?
Oh, I mean, it's really cool to get the opportunity to volunteer around here. We're actually a service club, so we work in Hampton, and I really love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, what's your name?
Caitlin. Sarah.
Derek.
Chloe.
Do any of you participate in the Community Engage Center?
Oh, I mean, I do a lot of service. Like, I went to CCE. I don't know about the specific programs CCE does, though.
Well, what's the benefits of service in your opinion?
Well, I was able to establish an organization like this where we're helping to feed CNU students and get service hours through it. We've also made a lot of connections in the community and learned a lot about what I want to do after I graduate.
Perfect, thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Andy.
Why is service important to you?
Service is important to me because there's real value in what you learn and what you do by getting hands-on, but also making an impact in the life of somebody else in your local community. So it's not just a matter of, I learned how to do this, but what am I going to do with it? You're already doing it as you're learning it.
Thank you.